Hello everyone, and my name is Gaurang Bhargav. I would like to welcome you all to virtual CPE meeting on Management Accounting Insights, focusing on role of top management in cost optimization, organized by Committee on Management Accounting of ICAI and hosted by Bhiwani branch of NIRC of ICAI. To formally start the meeting, I would like to welcome CA Sandeep Jhangra, who is chairman of Bhiwani branch of NIRC of ICAI.
Thank you, Gaurang Bhargavaji, to give me this opportunity. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the VCM on Management Accounting Insight, Role of Top Management in Cost Optimization, organized by Committee on Management Accounting of ICAI and hosted by Bhiwani branch of NIRC of ICAI. I, C. Sandeep Jhangra, Chairman, Bhiwani branch of NIRC, along with Team Bhiwani branch, give a warm welcome to CA Dr. Subramaniam Shivam RG, our eminent speaker for today's VCM. Now I extend a warm welcome to CA Charan Nandaji, Central Council member for 2019 to 22 of ICAI. Currently, he is chairman of Internal Accounting Standard Board of ICAI and Committee Management Accounting of ICAI. He is Vice Chairman of Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICAI. He is member of Board of 26 Committee of ICAI. He was the member of Quality Review Board set up by Government of India. He has represented ICAI on SEBI Committee on Disclosure and Accounting Standards. Authorship of professional book A Practical Guide on Audit Documentation for Statutory Bank Branch Audit. He also has made various representation on Accounting Standard 11, The Way Forward, Overview of IFRS, Presentation to HR Professionals, Capital Market in India, etc. He has also made representation with opportunities for CA in direct and indirect taxes. Thank you and welcome to CA Charanjot Nandaji. Sir, over to you. Nanda sir.
Thank you, Sandeep ji. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it a proud privilege to welcome CA Dr. Subramania Shivam ji, who is the speaker on today's well-designed, well-destined program on Management Accounting Insights, Role of Top Management in Cost Optimization. I also welcome the chairman of Bhiwani branch, CA Sandeep Jhangra, my younger brother, and moderator of the day, CA Gaurang Bhargava, and all participants have thronged in large numbers to make this program a very successful program. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you are all aware that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India was set up an Act of Parliament way back on 1st July 1949, when even the most important document to the democracy, the Constitution, was not adopted. All of you are well aware that the Constitution to this great country was promulgated on 26 January 1950. The pertinent question that arises is, what prompted the Constituent Assembly to set up an Institute of Chartered Accountants of India when its own democratic setup was not in place? The answer is very candid, very simple, very forthcoming. They were looking for a disciplined band of soldiers to steer this country out of confusion. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you one thing very clearly, very candidly, that if you intend to grow as a chartered accountant, your practice area has to increase on a manifold basis. Dr. Swami will today let you know the most important aspect, Dr. Shivam will today let you know the most important aspect related to cost optimization and how the management can pitch into it. Management knows the areas where there are loopholes and how it needs to be plugged. It is the responsibility of the board of directors of the top management to ensure that no revenue leakages are there. Dr. Shivam will take all those issues point-wise, but I would like to conclude by saying one very important thing. The chartered accountants in their practice of management consulting can help the organizations move ahead, grow and perform in an area where they understand how to serve the clientele. We need to understand that if we serve our clientele in the highest of earnest, we are able to effectively put across the areas which are very, very important. So, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I would like to compliment the speech.
The audio is not very clear. Sir?
Mr. Gaurang, please unmute yourself.
Yes, sure. So, I would like to welcome our speaker, Dr. Subramaniam Shivam, to please start the proceeding.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think I am audible to all, no? The right kind of
Yes,
yeah.
yes, Mr. Shivam, yes.
Yeah. Now, to start with, before I get into my PowerPoint presentation, as spoken by our Honorable Central Council member, chartered accountants need to look for other avenues where we are of great value addition to the clientele. In fact, my main practice is on management accounting, especially to MSME industry, because that is a place where the entrepreneur is alone, almost is single or a family, and they're running the entire departments. You start from, mostly they'll be technocrats, they'll be running the plant, they'll be running around for marketing, everything. So that is the place they require more support from professionals like ours. Of course, we are doing a human service in the areas of accounting, taxation, finance, and various issues. Apart from that, management accounting is a specialized knowledge where you are able to help them in almost all the faculties. That is the reason why I chose this as one of my prime areas of practice. And today I am trying to share my little knowledge on the subject, and whatever is the experience I had been having in this field for the last maybe 2 decades of practice and 2 decades of work experience in big industries like sugar, steel, textiles, pharmaceuticals, and non-banking finance companies. So, with this, I would like to share my presentation and get started. Is it okay?
Good, sir.
Yes, sir, please go ahead. Great, waiting for your insights into the subject.
Yeah. Is it visible, sir? My this thing, PowerPoint?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So, before I get into the main subject, I would like to set the tone. See, my doctorate is mainly from ancient strategies and modern management comparison, and most part of it was in Sanskrit. So, in most of the programs, I always bring some kind of events from the Puranas or histories and link it with the current topics. Okay, so it will be a kind of setting the tone for the subject. We all know our institute's motto, Yayesa Shupteshu Jagati, the one who is awake when others are asleep. A wonderful and apt motto for chartered accountants. Now, the core issue as far as cost optimization is concerned in the businesses, I can compare it with the biological event happening in a human system. Cost, the resource to be consumed, is like the glucose required for the human system. It is vital for all actions. Now, what are all the basic issues involved in that? How much is the optimum level of glucose required? Who shall determine that optimum level? Is it a common one for every human being, or it varies from person to person? What is the assurance of availability of glucose always? How to handle the excess or shortfall? Maintenance of the optimum level and also adjustment of the scale. How to manage if there is a system failure, either short term or permanent. I think you are all aware I am referring to diabetes. Okay. So, in the management accounting also is a kind of managing glucose in the entire business system. So, whenever the glucose availability or the system availability or control availability is strong, then you do not have any problem. Whenever there is a variance, then you have the issue where how to manage and all those things. Now we move on to the next one. I am here giving two ancient stories and one history. One is from Ramayana. In fact, in cost optimization, it is not the involvement of money alone, involvement of funding alone, or involvement of consumption of material. It is also, to a greater extent, a decision of the right kind of people at the right place. That is also important. So I am here quoting a situation. Most of us, almost all of us know the story of Ramayana. I am quoting a place here where the Vanara Sena, the army of Vanaras, come to the end point of the land and waiting there, knowing not to do further, what to do further. Because a huge sea is in front of them, they don't know how to move around here and there. Then they meet one old bird, which is the brother of Jatayu, and he says Sita is available beyond that sea in Sri Lanka. Now, the question is how to reach that place. Who is capable of doing it? Jambavanji is the leader of the team, and he is asking one by one, what is your strength? What is your strength? Everyone says, I can go to 10, 15, 20, like that. Finally, nobody, it is excepting Hanuman, nobody is capable of going there. That is the final conclusion. But Hanuman has a problem. When he was a young boy, he had been disturbing a lot of big people and they had given him a curse, saying that you will forget your strength. Then they give him a solution also. Whenever somebody advises you that you are stronger and all those things, you will recover that strength. Now, Jambavan informs Hanuman that you are the only person capable of performing this event. You have not only physical strength but also other capabilities. Why I am quoting this story here is the selection of the right kind of person with the right kind of capability is also as important as other issues in cost management. The next one is another very simple but very vital story from Mahabharata. We all know Mahabharata, and I am not going to dwell into it at a very long this thing. The 5 Panchapandavas, they were put into some trouble, and Duryodhana was thinking that they are killed inside the palace. They escape and they live in exile in a place called Ekachakrapura as Brahmins, not as Kshatriyas, as Brahmins in disguise, not to be known by anyone. And these 5 of them go out for Yachakam. Yachakam means begging for food. They collect the food every day and bring it back and give it to their mother Kunti Devi, and she will distribute the food for everyone. But the sharing is done in such a way, the maximum is given to the person who needs the most. That is Bhima. Bhima requires more food. So out of the total food, she shares 50% of the food to Bhima and rest 50% to all of them. Very interesting story for cost optimization. In most of the MSME situation where I have been handling, I tell people very clearly, you have to spend more in this area, this technology, or in market, or whatever it is, and less in areas where it is required less. We move on. Then I am bringing one small story from the history of South India, where we all know there was a king called Mahendra Varma Pallava, and he was invaded by Pulikesi of Vatapi, and later it is a big history. All of us know, and I am not going deeper into the history. But one situation, what happened, when Pulikesi invaded Kanchi, and he was put the Kanchi fort under siege, thinking that the people inside the fort will come out and surrender before the big army for starvation, having no food and all. But Mahendra Varma Pallava will do one good thing. What he will do, he will call all the people and assemble them in a place and tell them very clearly, see, we have a food shortage. Now, we have to go back a kind of fasting. We call it as vrat. But who are all the exempted people? Children, people suffering from any disease, or old age people, they are exempted. Rest of them, they will have only, instead of 3 times a day, they will have only 2 times a day. By this process, what happened? The food consumption, the food requirement was extended to more than 5 months. So, instead of the people inside the fort suffering for food, the food shortage affected the army of Pulikesen himself. The hunter became the hunted. The predator started starving and suffering. And finally, he had no clue but to go for a peace agreement with Mahendra Pallava. So these 3 stories, I wanted to set a tone for today's discussion on the current topic of cost optimization. Now, let us get into our core subject. I have tried to list around 9 functions which are top management functions in any organization: business plan, finance, human resource, technology, market strategy, research, taxation, legal, and finally a vision. We'll try to understand one by one. In the business plan, the cost of the project and means of finance plays a vital role. Especially in the means of finance, we have the debt equity ratio, how we are going to fund the project, either through equity in a major way or debt in a major way, or a mix of both, or getting a more of debt and less of equity kind of thing. And what is the capital grant which you will be getting for the business from the government, either state government or central government? Then construction period, achieving the break-even point, commitment on the top line, that is sales, and bottom line, that is profit, and finally dividends. Now, we will see the debt equity ratio. Here also, before that, I'll come by one, I'll try to explain a little more. The debt equity ratio, see, there was a period, I remember very well, a 1:2 ratio was the normal thing for every industry. It varies. Supposing a capital intensive industry will have more debt and less of equity, and some industries will have 1:1, where the investment in plant and machinery is very less. Only on technology and services, the debt equity will be 1:1 kind of thing. And capital grant is the support given by the governments, state governments or central governments, to the particular industry for that to grow. Construction period, we all know, it takes different thing for different industries. Like some industries can have a construction period of 1 month, 2 months. Some may go to 2 years also. Achieving the break-even point, when the industry or the business commercial operations are going to achieve the break-even point, that is very important. commitment on the top line and bottom line and dividends. Now, during the operation that we were talking about when the construction period. During the operations, we have various management issues. I am trying to list only the gist of them. One is, during the project, there will be a cost overrun. Either time overrun or cost overrun will be there. And what is the action to be taken there is either you bring additional equity or borrowings to support that. If the revenue is falling by 25%, then you may have to reshuffle the sales force. See, I am giving all these things from my experience with various industries where we have done all these things. So I have tried to put it as a, in a nutshell into this packaged program where I am sharing these things. Product cost may be up. You plant something, product cost is up by a particular percentage, you have to see the material mix. Shortfall in manpower, you may have to recruit. Handling the pollution, you have to create the apt measures. Distribution cost increase, create additional facilities. So these are, as far as business planning is concerned, there are two issues. One is the project side issues and the other one is operational management issues. As far as cost optimization, if you talk about cost optimization, the role of the top management is concerned, I'll put it this way. It is to be exemplary by the top management. It cannot be just advising somebody, you go and do it. Then we will see. Like it will not happen. You have to be an example to the second line people. Then only cost optimization can happen. Now, finance side. Second one is finance. What are all the issues involved here? We have the cost of equity, cost of debt, working capital finance, analysis of the business cycle, reviews of the operational statements, and corrective actions. See, all these issues come under top management. When you have to fund a project, what is the equity you are going to get involved? What is the money you are going to put it as equity, either yourself or through venture capital funding or from outside funding or whatever it is? Equity has got a cost. The cost of equity and cost of debt are totally different. We all know that. Cost of debt is almost like a fixed issue. You know what is the tenor of the loan, what is the repayment period, and what are all the installments you have to pay, and that's it. What is the percentage of interest? Whereas, cost of equity, the expectations of the investor varies from person to person. We all know that. It is simply understood. Cost of equity is totally a complex issue than a cost of debt. So financing either the long-term fund or the short-term fund is a very critical issue which plays a major role in your cost optimization. There are businesses where the operating cost is very less, whereas marketing cost is very huge, like the FMCG products. In the FMCG products, the cost of manufacturing a soap or a particular shampoo or XYZ is very, very small. Compared, if you see the price, MRP, what you are paying for a shampoo, out of that, if you break it into various costs, cost of manufacturing, cost of distribution, then cost of marketing, the cost of marketing of that product will be very high. Okay, I'll come to it little later. I'll explain product by product, I'll explain little later. So, how are you going to finance a project of that size, FMCG, of a particular volume, whether you are going to do more of equity or more of debt? That's it. Then working capital finance. How are you going to finance the working capital? What is the level of optimum working capital required? Because working capital is exactly the image, the photo image of your operational efficiency. Please note it. Working capital is nothing but the photo image of your operational efficiency. So if you are very efficient, your working capital requirement is very, very, less and sharp and focused. Then you have to keep on analyzing your business cycle, how long it is taking for my money to come back. In fact, in my classrooms, I used to use a term called cash to cash to make them understand. I take a lot of classes on finance for non-finance people. When you talk current ratio, current asset, current liability, they will not understand. So I used to coin a term called cash to cash. What is the cash you are putting in today when your cash is coming back to you with the profit? Is it like a tennis ball or is it like a fish in water? How is it happening? Then review of the operational statements is very, very vital in the cost, because the management has to know what is happening in the various areas. What was my plan? What is happening? What is the variance? What is the corrective action to be taken? Next. So, here I am trying to again put it in a nutshell. The project finance plays an important role in the short term as well as long term cost impact. But MSMEs do not have much options. When small MSMEs they are starting up, they don't have much options. They are not attracted by equity in the normal business. So they have to go a good amount of debt from institutions, banks and all. So they have to plan in such a way that they are capable of servicing these loans. Whereas new age businesses involving technology-based organizations shall attract equity and long-term funding options like VC and PE, etc. Here also the parameters vary very, very differently. When a banking institution is going to fund a MSME project, they are looking for when this project will go for commercial operation, number one. That means, what is the gestation period I have to provide when I am funding this project? From a banking side, I am saying, when I am funding this project, how long it will take for this project to go on commercial stream, and also how long it will take for it to break even. Because unless it touches the break even point, servicing of the debt becomes very difficult. Whereas, in the current age business, especially startups or businesses like Flipkart or Amazon or like those things, all these innovative businesses, the investors are not looking for how quickly they are going to earn profit. Their parameters are different. How quickly they are going to create a market for this new product. What is the footfall in that? Based on that, their investment varies and their parameters vary, their expectations vary and all those things. Whereas a bank expects only one thing. I have to get my interest as well as the loan back as per the term. Right? But the expectations of a VC or other investor is the compounded annual growth rate, CAGR, is very important for them. So, the pressure on the operations is not much in the equity-oriented funding. Whereas, the pressure on the operations is much on the debt-oriented funding because they have to get back their money. And I'll tell you, I have done a kind of research on these small-scale businesses, what is happening, and I have taken enough sessions with the banks also. The problem is, the gestation period, what they allow for a MSME business, is not sufficient. That is the reason most of them are suffering. All of them are thinking, if you manufacture a pen, I'm just giving an example. If you manufacture a pen, you are ready for selling it. No. Unless you are able to attract a customer towards your pen, you are not ready for sale. Am I clear? So, the gestation period should include the time taken for marketing as well, which is a major point missing by debt funding. Debt finance shall have an impacting pressure on the operations in the initial years. There shall be a commitment on the completion of the project and also on the commencement of the servicing of the debt. That is one of the major, I'll put it as a kind of problem, one of the major problem faced by MSME in the initial years. We'll go to next one. We come to human resource. The size of the workforce at all levels. Most of the times what will happen is staffing is not sufficient. Staffing is not sufficient and there is a lack of skill. There is a lack of skill. So what is happening is the productivity is not happening as per expectation. So to that extent, you are not able to contain the cost. And as far as you are thinking labor cost as a fixed overhead, you do not have an option. You feel that, okay, I have to pay my salary every month whether I produce and sell or not. If you start thinking on activity-based costing method, then what will happen? What is the productivity? What is the output of this person? What is the output of this team? Then what will happen? The apportionment of overhead will become the variable cost. I am trying to put it as simple. A variable component is always easy to understand there than an apportionment. Because when it comes to apportionment of fixed overheads, we try to put lot of things under the carpet. We don't say, why you require 20 people, why you require 30 people, only head count. Whereas when you are going to do it as a variable cost, then you will say what is required for Shivam, why Shivam is needed, what is his role in this operation. Is he a technocrat, is he an accountant? Like that. And review of the performances. The performance review is very, very poor in most of the organizations. That is why cost optimization is not happening. I'll put it that way. The top management, you see, I have been doing management audit as well. In the management audit, I bring it very pinpointed one thing to all these people. Sometimes I have very heated arguments with the entrepreneurs. I tell them very clearly, you have not done your job. What is your job? You have to understand whether my manpower is working to the maximum extent possible. So performance review is very, very vital because today you are in a very competitive environment. None of the, no business can say you are a monopoly anymore. In a competitive environment, your cost optimization plays a very, very vital role. And unless you have that in your policy guidelines or in your bloodstream, it is very tough to run a business. And development of skills, nowhere. Actually, all of you might have read one book called You Can Win by Shiv Khera. Yes? In that there will be one story. I would like to bring it here. Development of skill. A forest was owned by a person. He would have employed one woodcutter. So that fellow keep on cutting wood. But as the market grows, he will employ one more person for cutting wood. The remuneration paid was based on the wood that it cut every day. There is no fixed salary. The original man was getting very little payout. Whereas the new fellow will quickly go above this guy and he will be earning more money. One day that fellow will ask him, how is that? I have been working here for the last 7-8 years. You just joined. Within 3 months you have crossed me in the remuneration. What is happening? Then he will ask him, are you sharpening your axe? How frequently you are sharpening the axe? Sharpening the axe? What do you mean by sharpening the axe? That was a question by the old man. Whereas the new fellow will say, after cutting every tree, I'll sharpen my axe. That is a skill development program. Unless your team is very well enabled to handle the new challenges, the business will be far behind. And remuneration and incentives should be linked to your skill development, promotions, external versus in-house. Again, there's no much requirement on promotions and external in-house. It is going in a different direction. It is not into cost optimization. I have put it here as a within a framework. Now, in businesses like restaurants, the key professionals like the chefs and team are very important, and they have to be kept always in the best of comforts. In fact, morning I shared with Gyan one thing. The cost optimization and all these things, we can have a plan and all those issues. But who is going to perform? The person at the lowest level who is going to be the person who has to ensure you that it is happening. Like a chef in a restaurant. Supposing he starts using more of cashew, more of all those things, then what will happen? You will be having a policy guideline for this much of sweet item, I should use only 100 grams of cashew, something like that. Whereas that fellow keeps on going using kilograms of cashew. What will happen? Your cost optimization will go haywire. At the same time, you have to understand, it is not a question of putting your policy into them. It is from the other side. See, we understood, as far as our team was concerned, we were taking classes on cost optimization, management accounting, cost control, all these programs and all at various places, small scale industries, large scale industries, auto component industries, all those places. Once upon a time, what happened? A big auto industry requested us to take classes for their shop floor employees, that is workers and supervisors. When we went and approached them, then only we realized that this exercise should start from here. It is not top to bottom approach, it is from bottom to top. Because the shop floor person knows exactly how much oil to be used for cleaning a machine. You cannot have a standard on that without knowing the person who is on the job. We changed our approach. In a restaurant also same thing. I am quoting restaurant because I asked the management, how do you fix your costing? They said, I know. I am a so-and-so. He was an entrepreneur from a big institution. He has qualified as a, hoteliering. He has finished his hoteliering. So he said, I know how much to do. Have you checked with your chef? How much he is using for this kind of a taste, this kind of a quality? No. That is why you are not getting the costing perfect. So we called him. Immediately we called him. He gave his own plans. He had his own reasons for using some of the items. Then whole standard costing changed. The pricing changed. Then it was perfect. Now, businesses where the knowledge on technology, patents and others related matters are the key, then also it would be most important task of management to retain talent. Most of the time what is happening is the talented people, the key managerial people or key performing people will be always on demand. Okay. So you will have predators to pick them up and run away. Especially it happens in hotel industry. In the restaurants it is happening. So they will try to keep their chefs intact. Whatever they will try to give them the best of the salary, best of everything. Because always somebody will be watching on them. They would like to take them away. So you have to be very careful there. You all know C.K. Prahalad. See, I was going through one Michael Porter's competitive strategy. Then I realized there was a statement given by C.K. Prahalad also. Michael Porter stays more on products and services the cost advantage or cost edge or whatever it is. Whereas Prahlad says a company of resources and competencies will achieve the cost leadership. The other part of it. See, always it is a, what do you call, I'll put it as the two sides of a coin. The cost of material, cost of technology is one side. The other side is the resources and the competencies. Both are okay. Porter is also fine, Prahlad is also fine. Now we go to technology. Have we understood the technology? That was the question. Most of the time, technocrats run the businesses, they farm the businesses, they run the businesses. The problem is when it comes to operational side, lot of what you call modifications have to be done. There is a gap. We have been advising, and obsolescence is one of the major things which can happen to a technology product. One thing is, I can give a very immediate quote will be, two things. One is typewriter. We all know typewriters. Where are they today? Gone. Once upon a time, it would have been a technology product. Best of the technologies maybe 200 years ago. Today it is not there. But one more product which had a very short lifespan was the pager. I don't know, young people may not know pager. Like Mr. Sandeep Gangra, I think he is young, and Gyan, these people may not know what is a pager. It was a very kind of, it is a midway to your mobile phone. But it lived only for maybe 2 years maximum. Then mobile phone wiped out that technology. But today we are seeing it is happening in every industry. Technology changes are happening in every industry, and obsolescence is very vital. And most of the MSMEs, I am telling you, we are seeing every day in and day out, the problem is they are suffering due to obsolescence. Because they are not able to fund up quickly for their new generation machinery or new generation technology. And what is happening is, if you say, I can give you a small example, will be your printing technology. A printing technology, the kind of equipments, if you had to invest around 5 crores, say 10 years ago, the same printers and all those things have come less than 1 crore, and the performances are almost thrice or 4 times. So the cost of manufacture or cost of service is very, very little. So to that extent, those people who have invested in old technology are not able to compete with the people who are investing in the new technology. Then review of the operations, replacement policy. What is the replacement policy for the machinery? When are you going to replace it? Then plans for the future, in-house team. Are you having an in-house team, or you are going to engage outsiders for the support of technology? Am I going in the right speed, or I am running? Is it okay? The way the speed is okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. Now comes the market strategy. The market strategy, we can put it in 3 or 4 these things like your target achievement, competition, cost advantage, reach. The target achievement is done by the sales force. And most of the time what will happen is, there will be in fact, when we were in the working, when I was employed as a manager, general manager or whatever it is, we always have a fight in the boardroom or any meeting room between market people. They know how to manipulate the numbers. I have done so much sale. But the material will be in the godown. Dispatch would not have happened. So when the money will come, no, sir, next week we are dispatching, something like that. No, I am just in a very lighter way I am telling. Each department has got its own way of problems. So target achievement is very important, because that is where your money is going to come from outside. Then you have competition. Competition, today you can say it can come from any direction, from any this thing. It is David and Goliath story. We all know, right? It is like David and Goliath, or we have enough number of such stories across. Today you don't know who is going to be competing you. See, there was a time when TCS was ruling the information technology since 1970 or so. For so many years, there were almost a monopoly, right? Then came in 1990s new age people like Narayan Murthy's and all those people from nowhere, from scratch. They all came from scratch. But within a short period, they rise to be the biggest competitors for the existing elephant. So competition, managing competition is really a tough challenge for any business. It is not that easy because it is not visible. Your opponent, if your opponent is visible in the war field, you can fight with them. They are like Indrajit, Mayavis. You are not able to look at them. Suddenly one fine day somebody cracks down and says, I am able to do better than you. So competition is very, very vital. Then cost advantage. Yes, cost advantage plays a major role. There is no doubt about it. At the same time, I will put it this way. It is a perspective of the top management rather than the numbers. See, there is a subtle difference. I request all the chartered accountants, management accountants to bear with me certain statement I am saying, but it is a fact. See, in most of my classrooms, I used to ask the people, either students or practitioners, how do you, it's a simple question. So, like you all know masala dosa, right? Masala dosa everybody knows. I used to ask them, how do you price a masala dosa? Please tell me. Where do you start from? Then they will start saying that my raw material, rice, dal, ghee, and then masala products and all those things, and salary of the KEF and all those people put together, the cost per dosa, the total cost, including all those things, will be around, say, 12 rupees or 15 rupees per dosa if I am able to do 1000 dosa per day, volume. So I will be able to fix it at 30 rupees, putting 100% margin. But the hotels are charging not less than 80 to 100 rupees per masala dosa. So what will happen if that hotel is going to take your advice and sell the dosa at 30 rupees? For each dosa, that fellow will be losing 50 rupees. So the lesson here or the story here is, while cost is a fact, price is a strategy. Pricing a product is a strategy. It depends on whether you are in a seller's market or a buyer's market. Whereas costing is a fact for everyone. So cost advantage definitely gives you an edge over others, no doubt. But the tool, it is not the tool for pricing your product in a situation when you are in a seller's market. When you are in a buyer's market, yes, it is a tool. Because in a buyer's market, the price is equal to cost plus profit. Or cost plus profit is equal to price if at all there is a profit. If you are selling a commodity, almost cost is equal to your selling price. So you have to make things in volumes. Whereas in a product market, whereas you are in a seller's market, price is equal to or profit is equal to price minus cost. Simple. So that we have to advise people correctly. In fact, in one more example, I think I have shared with all the members in my earlier program. I had a program done for research committee, I think. In a research committee meeting, or I don't remember exactly, where pricing an export product. How to price an export product? Advising your customers. There also, you have to start from market. When you are pricing a product, you have to understand the market, then you come to the cost. Okay. Then finally, the reach. What is the reach? Reach here, I mean, whether you have totally reached all your customers. Okay. Your customers, have you reached those customers? That is very important. What is the percentage you have achieved? The performance measurement system should be designed well. Here also, I am very particular that there should be a perfect performance measurement system and the cost should be linked to performance. Because, as I told, while pricing is a strategy, costing is a fact, we have to understand how much that advantage is being brought by our marketing and sales force. So, whenever you are budgeting, whenever you are fixing a standard for them, the performance measurement should be very, very clear. Research. Whether you are going to make in-house research or external research, and what are the areas of research and planning. It may be too odd for a small company. Research may be too odd for a small company. I can put it this way. MSME and the higher end, which is about to be promoted to a large scale industry, research becomes very important. Then taxation. We are all experts and I need not have to do much about tax planning. But in one of my experiences I am sharing with you, there was an advice from some corner to the management that if you spend more on research, you will have a lot of tax benefits. 1.25%, 125%, all those things. They had given an advice, and that company kept on investing in research without having a clear plan of what they are going to do, what they are going to achieve. With the result, what happened? They had spent a lot of money on buildings, a lot of money on laboratory equipments and all those things for about a couple of years without getting a single product out of it. My question to them was, what have you achieved? What was your plan? Nothing. We have tax benefit, so we invested here. So, that kind of tax planning, what will happen is you will be running out of resources. That is not an advisable thing according to me. Instead, if you really have a plan to have research, I want to go for higher end products, I want to do exports, all those things, then it makes sense. Okay. Then you should have a tax planning from the investment stage, whether you want to go for an export oriented unit, and whether you are going to updating the provisions, understanding the short and long term impacts. All these things, I think we are doing as chartered accountants, we are doing a yeoman service to the business, no doubt about it. And this is one of our, prime areas. We are like Mahendra Singh Dhoni is here in taxation. And all of us, in fact, as far as I am concerned, every day I am telling people, we are doing wonderful service. See, we are the authorities in taxation. As far as, not only that, yesterday I attended a program on international taxation where one of the speakers was very clear that saying that we are on par with the international level on taxation advisory. No, we have no depth in this area. In fact, we should feel proud of it. When he started, our NARC, our Central Council member told that even before the document, that is our 1949 we started, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India was formed as the soldiers like that. Yes, we have been hats off to all of them, all our seniors, elders who have done a wonderful job and make us a proud institution. As far as IFUL in taxation, I'll definitely say that, no doubt about it. We move on further. Legal. This is one of the areas where people are lacking, especially in the MSME areas, all compliances. They are not doing, even if you advise, they will say, we'll see later kind of thing. And they end up paying a lot of penalties and all those things, spending a lot of money. Certain areas are very important where, supposing this cost audit is one area which is always changing. Certain industries are coming under cost audit, beyond a level, all those things. If they do not have the particular compliance done, they are paying a lot of penalties, which we have to take care of them. And we should definitely have a legal advisory team. It can be an in-house team or external team. And current day situation, a legal advisory team is very, very important. And in my experience, I'll put it this way, last maybe 2.5 years, I have been associated with resolution professionals, and I am advising them on strategies and other areas. I really realize the need of a proper legal advisory team with us. In fact, I'll put it this way, chartered accountants and advocates should work hand in hand. They are complementing lot of areas. Advocates are complementing lot of areas for chartered accountants, which is really helpful. I realized when I was handling the IBC cases. So, and I tell every one of my clients, MSMEs or everyone, please have a proper legal advisor team. Vision. It is very much needed, but it is very tough. All said and done, we can write a vision statement or mission statement, whatever it is, but it is not that easy. But it enables the company to withstand the ups and downs. And cost optimization should be one of the vision requirements. See, I'll present it this way. Costing is looked more as an accounting matter, number matter, rather than a policy matter or a business matter. That should change. Cost optimization should be one of the vision requirements. Always when you are running a business, when you are growing from a small scale to large scale, when you are growing into a bigger territory, when you are going into exports, but it holds good for every even professionals like us. Not only for businesses, even professionals like us, cost optimization is very, very important. A growth is required. For growth, cost optimization gives you the kind of boosting for the growth. Coming to new norms. As a couple of slides back, I told this thing. The requirements were top line, bottom line, dividends and all those things. Okay. But it is changing because we have come to, in fact, we have a sustainability committee also in our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It is a wonderful thing. I also attended some programs in that. And currently I am handling 1 or 2 cases on sustainability. Sustainability, global warming, consumption of natural resources, other social themes and needs. These are all coming as a frontline subjects, pushing your sales, profits, EBITDA, profit after tax, profit before tax, all those things a little behind. We all know that all the listed companies, they have to provide the sustainability reporting from 22-23 onwards. So when the new norms are coming, how do you optimize your cost? The big challenge. Because so far you are using certain raw materials, certain input materials for your operations, we may have to change. Then what will be the impact on your product cost and what will be the impact on your total business lines? That is very important. Now, I am trying to give, or I put it as a suggestion, but this is a practice I am doing. A kind of suggestion for the board for cost optimization. I am trying to, a kind of case study. I am trying to give a case study here. For the sake of secrecy, I have not revealed the name of the company or name of the business or whatever. Okay? It is a real life situation where we are as a team handling cost optimization projects. So the suggestion will be, sir, how much time I have? Can I take another 20 minutes?
Sure, sir. We have plenty of time, sir.
Fine. So the first one is appoint a specialist in cost management. This I am suggesting to an industry of say around 100 crore turnover, which has the potential to grow to 1,000 and crores more product lines and all in a couple of years' time. So how to get into cost optimization? These are all certain things. You have to appoint a specialist in cost management. The operational budget should be thoroughly reviewed and corrected. Performance review should be presented by the specialist to the board and critical analysis should be made. Here, the board, I mean the entrepreneur. Supposing you have a private limited company or a LLP, and here you would have experienced, all of us would have experienced, majority of us, most of the organizations are family run businesses here. Even though there is a board, the owner takes the call. Okay. So, I have mentioned board here, but it is mentioned for the entrepreneur. Performance review should be presented by the specialist to the board and critical analysis should be made. The next period, all the corrections should be executed. This process should be continued and the annual review would bring out the performance of the board. This is what I am suggesting to a couple of companies, and one or two companies I brought them into practice. It was very tough. It was not that easy for them to accept it. Most of the time what is happening is the problem, the main setback here is the costing information. Generally people feel it is very, very secretive. I don't want to reveal my cost information to everyone, including you. Kind of thing. That is the kind of mindset they have. So we have to bring them out of the mindset because today you have nothing secret about everything. Everyone knows. Within a short period, people are able to understand what is your cost. Don't worry. You are thinking it is a secret, but it's a global secret. Okay. Now, we'll go to the case. I'm just giving a kind of executive summary of 4 instances. For want of time, I will just enlisted 4 instances where the export reports and the follow-up action will continue. Okay? The report of the specialist, cost management, it is the executive summary. I have not given more pages. It is the executive summary I have given here. Business plan. 1 is the expansion plant 1. If you say expansion plant 1, the report is on schedule, but there is a cost overrun of 10 crore expected. Just 1 second, sir. I'll take some water. Two, advertisement. Launched, improvement in sales as planned. Number 3, pollution control unit. Installed, behind schedule by 3 quarters. Number 4, working capital cycle unsatisfactory. Disagreement between finance and marketing. I am just giving you 4 instances where an export report's executive summary will be there. For all these things, you have backup papers and also the details worked out. Okay. Now we'll go one by one. We'll take up number 1. The expansion of plant 1 for the new varieties of designer material is planned to go on production from July 1, 2022, and the trial runs shall be on from May 2nd week 2022. A finishing equipment system which was earlier planned has to be replaced with the latest one with additional technology and features which would be costing rupees 10 crores more. The comparisons as provided by the production and research wings are given below. I'll give you the background. See, it is a cloth manufacturing company and they are creating designer products for both men and women. So they have an expansion plan. They have a couple of plants. Plants 1 is the older one and plant 2, plant 3 are modern ones. In the plant 1, they have already replaced certain machinery for their this thing. But finally, a finishing equipment system was required, which gives you certain value added this thing for attracting the customers. The promoters had planned to purchase a machine at 57 crore, import a machine at 57 crore with the technology, but they took some time. They had their own, funding problems and other issues. So, to put aside all these things and take a decision, it took more than 6 months. So, it was 57 crore, but after making the order, they understood the same people who are supplying the equipment, they have created one more equipment with additional cost, but the performance of that equipment is far better than the older one. Now, a decision has to be taken. What is to be done? The problem is, here is the main role of the professionals like us. They require a kind of catalyst. I think all of you understand what is a catalyst, right? A catalyst is a chemical. See, basically I am a chemistry graduate, upgraded to chartered accountancy. So, a catalyst is a chemical which is used in any reaction to activate that reaction. Supposing, simply I am putting it this way, hydrochloric acid is HCl, hydrogen and chlorine. If you allow it to do something, I am putting it in a simple example. I don't want to go into details of chemistry. It will take, say, 1 week. If you put a catalyst, it will happen in 1 minute. That is the role of a catalyst. So we should be like catalysts to the managements because they have their own issues in decision making, especially in cost, in finance and all those areas where we have to activate them and ensure, yes, you do it. It is to the benefit of your organization. Okay. So that came for a discussion. This decision came for the discussion at the expert meeting where the original equipment proposed costing rupees 57 crores shall be operating 100 units a day and a maintenance break every 30 days for 2 days is required. That was the original equipment's parameters. The improved equipment, the proposed one is costing 67 crore, shall be operating 250 units a day with a maintenance break every 6 months, that too for 2 hours. Okay. So, when you make a comparison, the 10 crore, normally what will happen is the old age entrepreneur is always thinking on the difference in cost of the equipment. The first one. First comes to their mind is, I have to invest 10 crores. Either I have to borrow money or I have to put my own money, additional 10 crore for this. Let us see later. That will be the attitude of the old age entrepreneur. So you have to break it. You have to inform them, see by this 10 crore what are all the benefits you are achieving. The primary issue was we have to underline the 57 crore worth machinery will be operating 100 units a day, and a maintenance break every 30 days for 2 days is required. Every month you have to wait for 2 days for maintaining it. Alternatively, the other one, it will give you 250 units a day, 150 units straight a day you are getting more. With a maintenance break only every 6 months, not every month, that too for 2 hours. It is almost like nil, you are operating throughout. That is the primary benefit which we have to put it across the minds of the promoters as a catalyst on cost optimization matter. Now further going, the operating cost will be almost same with 10% more consumption of power and lubricants, but with only 50% of manpower than the earlier one. Okay? So we have to prove. All these things have been proved in numbers. I am not, for brevity of time, I have not brought it here into my system, presenting. I am just giving you the executive summary. Everything has been proved. The operating cost will be almost same with 10% more consumption of power and lubricants, but with only 50% of the manpower than the earlier one. The productivity benefits are almost double, from 100 to 250, and also with an enhanced market expectation, supplies become comfortable. See, the company on one hand is keeping on going for market enhancements and facing the competition. They have a policy guideline, they have a vision statement saying that we want to be number one in the market, number two in the market, all those things. With that kind of a vision, you have some machinery which can provide you more material to you. So the decision given to management was, the draft purchase order has been vetted by us. By us means the expert team, and board's approval is awaited. This is the first of the 4 reports we have given. We go to the second one. Advertisement. The change in brand ambassador. They had a brand ambassador who was as old as I am, 62 years old. They wanted a brand ambassador like Amit or Sandeep Jangra or somebody who was very young, just qualified and ready to perform. So we want a brand ambassador, youngsters, okay, especially for these materials, okay. So the change in brand ambassador has shown good improvements, but we have to wait and watch whether this trend would continue. Number 1. This is the report. I am studying the report. As per the market audit done by XYZ, there are certain improvements required in the product utility values. Parallelly, a market audit was done by some experts, market experts, and they had given certain suggestions in improvement of the product utility values to the customers. The above report was discussed at the HOD meeting held on 4th, I have given some date, and the corrections have been accepted by the concerned people. The production team shall be able to offer the revised ones by March 22. This is one of the second decision. See, here also cost optimization is, see, one is we have changed the advertisement pattern, which has shown immediate result. There is a good improvement in your sale, but there is something lacking in the product quality which came out by market audit. Again, it was taken to the board through the HOD people who have been made to accept that, and the production team shall be able to offer. Again, we have played our catalytic role. There will not be any material cost variance, and with the improved sales profitability should also go up. Because material cost variance is one of the important things which can pull you down. But we are not consuming additional material for improving the customer satisfaction. So sales will improve. This manufacturing practice may also pave way for the new compliances to be met with from April 22. We mean that sustainability reporting, where you cannot be using certain material like that. So we have given that kind of a suggestion. The manufacturing practice should also improve. The comparative performance report shall be presented in the next quarter. That is the report number 2. We go to report number 3. pollution control unit. Installed but behind schedule by 3 quarters. The pollution control unit was installed but behind schedule by 3 quarters. There was no valid reason for the delay in installation. The company has received successive red alert notices from the government. It is a very strong report given to the management. You are not looking into that thoroughly and you are taking it very lightly. You are not taking it up seriously. That is the report. Indirectly, that is the report the expert report going to the management. Board should take note and the concerned people have to be taken into task. Because this is an area where your entire business can come to a standstill one fine day. In one of the food processing industries, we faced this problem. The management faced this problem. Without listening to the advice of people, they didn't go ahead with the installation of the pollution control equipments and also the practices. Suddenly one day they said, you cannot work from tomorrow, closer. Then they had to spend a lot of money. And almost 2 months production was stopped. They had to do a lot of things to ensure that things are not okay and all those things. And the loss was very heavy. They realized after losing. We go to the last one. Experts report number 4. Working capital cycle. It is our pet subject to all of us. Okay? The number of days at the procurement. See, I'll give you a small prelude here regarding this story. Normally what will happen is, marketing guys will not agree from the finance guys, whatever you say, generally. They will say, no, sir, you come and stand in the market, then only you will understand what is the problem. You are all sitting comfortably and you are saying a lot of things like that. See, what happened in that business, the number of days at the procurement of key material have been substantially reduced, and also the inventory holding of work in progress was improved by 25% based on the cost and views of the technocrats in the meeting held. That means, see what happened, work in progress, if you have more, we are not losing any big money, but at the same time, if you have a good inventory of work in progress, suddenly, see what will happen is, in certain products, the market will not be uniform. All of us would have faced that kind of a problem. Market will be uneven. In the festival season, suddenly you will have a very big market flow where you may have to work 200-300%. And there are certain periods where you may not have much market, 10%, 20%, 30%. So we understood, if you have a work in progress inventory of improved inventory of by 25% more, you will be able to cater to the sudden rise in the market. At the same time, key materials, we have made arrangements to ensure that they are supplied in time. Especially if you see the auto ancillary units, they will say JIT, just in time inventory. I think all of you are aware of it. It's a Japanese coinage, just in time inventory, which is being operational in automobile industry. Tomorrow, if they have to produce 2,000 vehicles, the required components will be received from the component suppliers only previous day or just 1-2 days before. You cannot dump on them. They will not keep on dumped materials with them. That is called just-in-time inventory, and it has a very huge impact on cost optimization. So here what we have done is, the number of days at the procurement of key materials have been substantially reduced. Earlier, if you make an order, you will get it in, say, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, almost a month. It has been reduced to 1 week. Just you place the order, within a week's time you get the material. That means you need not hold an inventory of additional 3 weeks. Am I clear, sir? Am I clear in my explanation? You need not have to hold additional 3 months inventory with you, just in time. Just I order you today, I receive the material within 7 days. So there we have made the optimum utilization. And also we have allowed the production team to hold additional 25% work in progress. See, optimization, as I told you in the Mahabharata story, the inventory you should not hold much. Whereas work in progress you can hold much. Work in progress area was like Bima. All others, the inventory was like other four. Then, at the same time, the credit periods are planned to be reduced from 90 days to 45 days based on the various positive signs received. The company had a policy based on the market report to give 90 days credit. We studied and told it is wrong. Your 90 days credit policy is not correct. You should reduce it to 45 days because you are almost in a seller's market. Your products are on demand. None of your distributors or retailers are holding on. They are always be after you for material. See, we have to sense the market. If the distributors or retailers are holding on to inventory, and when the company asks for a sale, if they say, sorry, we'll see next week, means you are not in the seller's market. That means your inventory is there everywhere. Your finished goods is there everywhere in the supply chain. Whereas here we understood the material is always in demand. The distributor is asking, sir, provide us more, like that. Then why do you give 90 days credit? You understand my point, no? See, when your product is on demand, when you are in the seller's market, you can demand the payment in advance also in some areas. So we advised them to reduce it to 45 days. It was not happening. Then, only two products we have identified. I have given some, just some numbers, A21 and A28. 2 or 3 products where we have identified, leave it. Don't disturb it because it is a slow mover. Let it go. Somehow we have to push it out. We have produced, we have to push it out of the market, and it is going out of the design also. That product will not hit the market again. Like that. Then, till date, marketing is giving reasons for not reducing the cycle period and also requesting more time. They have not done it. I am reading from the experts report. As per the finance department's workings, this is costing rupees 2.5 crore more per quarter by way of interest, and also the bad debts ratio is on the rise. See, when you are giving a more credit period for your distributor or your retailer, and the product is not selling, if you are not pushing it, what will happen? He will come to a tendency not to pay. Later he will ask for a discount. After some time, if you go and ask for the payment, he will say, sorry sir, either you take back the material or give me 30% discount. Now, the report made it very clear, both to fix the final line for marketing to implement the scheme. That was the report. Unless you fix the final line for marketing to implement the scheme, at one end you are doing, your performance is good. You have optimized your cost of production. You have optimized your marketing. You have improved your sales, everything. But here, unnecessarily it is pulling you down. Your working capital management is pulling you down. You are unnecessarily wasting 2.5 crores per quarter. And also, you are vulnerable for getting into more bad debts. Okay. Sir, how long we can take?
We have another 25 minutes.
No,
20
but
minutes.
question answers. He was telling question answers and the thing morning.
Yes,
I think we
sir.
have reached 7:30, right?
Sir, as per schedule given to me, we still have 20 minutes. After that, we can take Q&A. Question and
Okay.
answers.
Okay. So, here one more, when it comes to working capital cycle, I can explain to you with one more example. There was you all know that mineral water suppliers, earlier it came in 5-liter cans. Earlier, now it comes in various shapes, for 20 liter, 10 liter, half liter, 200 ml, various shapes is coming. Maybe long back, it was a very wonderful brand in Chennai, 5-liter can, it was under demand. And suddenly the assignment given to us was, we are not making profits. We are losing money. Please look into it. We would like to have a detailed study of our financial system. What is wrong in this? So our team entered that and we started understanding where exactly they are losing. Because that is one of the most sought after brands in and around Chennai, 5-liter cans. They have a very good distribution system, good production system, everything. Then we went deeper into, again, this working capital. It is very relevant in the working capital cycle management. So I am explaining that case in detail. We wanted to understand where exactly they are getting struck. Where is the money getting slipped out of the system? We started from the customer. Always we believe from the bottom to top approach. Top to bottom, what will happen? If you see from top of the hill, everything will be very green. If you see from the bottom of the hill, then only you will understand some of the areas are not green. We have dark areas. So, the customer, the end user of the product, he has to pay a demand for the can. For returning the can, say 20 rupees for the can and say 10 rupees for the water. If he pays 30 rupees, he will be supplied that can. And the distributor, when he is giving to the retailer, he also collects the demand, deposit from the can, for the can. And the wholesaler also is collecting the deposit. Supposing there are, say, 1 lakh cans distributed every day across the city, that, hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, supposing 1 lakh cans are distributed every day across the city, the can deposit was received by everybody excepting the company. And cans started missing. The company was providing new cans every now and then, but company was not getting back the money what they are supposed to do. And on top of it, the wholesaler was given a credit of 30 days. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, the wholesaler was given a credit of 30 days for the supplies from the company, and they were all enjoying the second line money which was collected every day. So, this report was given to the management. See, this is where your problem is. Your system, second line, that is starting from wholesaler to down the line, they are collecting the money every day. Okay, for the supply as well as the deposit for the can, and they are enjoying your money. And on top of it, I don't know who gave you an advice of giving 30 days credit to them. So how to reverse it? Because already they were having a debtor of around 10 crore, something like that. Last so many months they have not collected the money. So what is that to get it done? You say very clearly, from next month onwards, unless you deposit the money for every day, supposing we are selling 1 lakh into 20 rupees, plus 1 lakh into 5 rupees, you have to deposit in the morning every day and then take the cans from the company, from the plant. There was a very big issue because all along people have been enjoying the company's money and they were happily investing that money into some other business. So suddenly they didn't agree. After some time they understood that the management has woken up. Then what happened? First, provide all the money. Otherwise, we are going to appoint new distributors, the whole thing. Entire money, that is 10 crore, should come within 60 days to us. Like that. So it took around 3 to 4 months for us to rectify the whole thing. After that, the company was doing well. The working capital cycle is a very, very vital issue in cost optimization. Okay. So wherever required, especially I'll put it this way, I think all along I had been explaining to you, if you are in a seller's market, your working capital system should be very sound and you do not require any credit period for your customers. Whereas in a buyer's market, there may be some credit period required for customers, but it is to be optimal. And one more thing, recently one case we handled. It is regarding the changing the baton for the next generation. The father started doing an ancillary business for a public sector undertaking. He created some, say, 35 years back. He borrowed from the bank, created that, and then he was supplying the materials to the company. But an ancillary business is like an extended employment. I'll put it this way. It is not like your independent business unless you are growing beyond that. If the the public sector company is closing for the 60 days, you will also have to close because you will not have business. Correct? So they were about to hand over the same thing, but we advised them, don't do that, because your period was different where you borrowed and made money, but ultimately you are not earned, you are like just getting a salary in the form of some cash flow for your company. But this generation, they have to go beyond this. Okay. Now, I would like to sum up the whole thing into one Tirukkural. Always I follow our Honorable Prime Minister Ji, Sri Modi Ji. Recently he had been quoting Tirukkural everywhere he goes. Either in Ladakh or some other place also he is quoting. So I am very happy to share that Tirukkural with all of you. It is called Karka Kasadara Karpavai Katrabin Nirka Adarkataha. That is in Tamil. It simply means learn thoroughly and perform accordingly. That is the meaning of the whole thing. Whatever you have to learn it thoroughly and practice accordingly. It is like a theory and practice. It speaks about theory and practice. So that is very important according to me. And to sum up, as per our Central Council members' statement, we as chartered accountants, we have to do various issues to the value addition of the clients. Of course, we have excelled in the areas of taxation, in accounting, banking, finance and all. But management accounting is one area, according to me, we are yet to go in a full swing. I may be right or wrong, I don't know. It is my view. Management accounting is one area where we can do more. Because as chartered accountants, we are equipped with the entire knowledge of management accounting. See, if you see the entire operations, the entire transactions, ultimately they are measured in terms of money only. Finally, it comes to the monetary measurement. Either what is the return on investment, what is the EBITDA, what is your profit after tax, and what is your valuation. What is the business, what is your company, like that. And we are sitting in the very important and vital point where we can definitely add values to customers, and management accounting is one area In fact, I'll couple it with management audit, which we are doing for a few clients in the MSME segment. It is on the resource planning or cost optimization. I can put it this way or that way, but it is effective. People are happily accepting our advices, and they are also tasting the success. I'll put it this way. They are tasting the success. It is like the headlamp of a vehicle where we are throwing much light for them to take calls. So I think with this we'll have a couple of question and answer session. I think I have come to the end of my presentation. We can go to question and answers. Hello? You are muted, sir. Mr. Bhargava, sir, you are muted. You are unmute. You please unmute. Yeah.
Thank you for the great session. I would like to go to question and answers.
Please.
With your permission. So the first question.
Should I come out of my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir, you can do
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, this is the takeoff.
The first question is, when we are unable to move away from single-use plastic material, how do you think that sustainability can be a driver from the side of the financial person, especially in MSMEs?
Yeah, it's a very wonderful question. Again, as I told you, we are a catalyst. Financial people, as chartered accountants, we are catalysts. Okay. We are also at the same time customers as well. As the people of the planet, we all understand the negative effect of plastics, but according to me, you cannot do away with that, and no need also. In one of my recent presentations, I made it very clear, nature has got its own system for balancing that. But once you are crossing that limit only, it is suffering. Okay. The invention of plastic is one of the wonderful things which happened. But when you are overdoing it, when there are alternative natural resources available, when you are not using it, automatically there are some people who have to inform you that please go back. Use like, see, in cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Bombay or whatever it is, slowly people have come out of it and using degradable substances for this thing. So it is possible by all of us putting effort together. It will not come by advice, it will come by self-practice. Yeah, next one.
Sir, next question is, please mention few of the effective softwares used for determining cost optimization strategy, and their price band also may also be helpful.
It is one software is your own brain. See, I'll tell you, you can have various this thing. In fact, one of the companies, steel product manufacturing companies, they were using a ERP solution for their products. But their best selling product was making loss. Okay. So we had, the costing team, we had an idea. Then I asked the question to the people who implemented the whole thing. Have you visited the plant? They said no. By not visiting a plant, how will you give a solution on costing? See, after all, a costing system should be designed based on what is happening there. It is not the reverse. As I had been insisting again and again, it should be a bottom to top approach, not top to bottom. You cannot have a costing system and design a plant. You should first have the technical plant in place. You should have the technology in place. You have the production system in place. Then you have to understand what is happening inside. What is the input-output ratio? Like a textile mill. If you see a textile mill, your raw material is cotton and then yarn. Then it goes to gets converted into yarn and then converted into weaved product. Then you are giving various products. But you cannot have a costing system designed, then implement into a textile mill. A textile mill will be there, then you have to understand the costing. So, all these jargons I am telling you, we should first come out of it, first understand what you have. See, in that plant, what happens? Steel mill, the special product, there is a process where it undergoes 2-3 steps. But it is only for this, not for other products. They have missed out. They have clubbed everything together and the ERP solution has been given. That's why, as a management accountant, you should go to the grassroots level. First, you should understand what is happening there. So like your aloo paratha. For aloo paratha, you cannot write something on paper and give it as paratha. You have to understand what is aloo, what is your dal and all those things. Then how it is coming to your table. Then you will be able to give a system. We are supporters. Again, I am telling you, we are catalysts. We are supporters. By our support, what is happening? Supposing they are able to understand, they are able to perform, say, 80%. With our support, they will perform 95%. And that 80 to 95%, that 15% make the difference of a success or failure of a business. That is where we are the catalyst. We are not doing the entire 95%. But we are doing a vital 15%. Yeah, next one.
Sir, this question is from me. Actually, I would like to ask you that during this, as all of us know that we spend a lot of time and cost in acquiring and developing a resource. During this pandemic time, we have witnessed lockdown various times and we might witness one in future as well. So we know that when we know that our sales is going down and we have spent so much amount of time and money on this, on developing our resources. So how should we retain them at lower cost, or should we let them go? How we should handle this?
It's a very, very difficult question. I think we have to request COVID-19 to answer this question. But anyway, I'll try to justify. Certain times what happens is, we, as ups and downs comes to any profession or any business, we have seen enough. We have seen enough in our lifetime, and so somehow you may have to retain them if you really feel, because more than anything, human resource is very important. Okay. When there is a suffering for us, it is a suffering for our entire team, not only for us. Okay. So, we have to withstand this pressure. If required, see, at least half a dozen MSMEs, now the government also is giving a lot of liberal solutions for them, additional funding, and they have put the repayment schedules, restructuring, and we have done enough. We have done a lot of restructuring for people and given hope to them. See, this is a thing which is happening across the globe, not only for us. Okay. So it has to be taken up as a challenge, and we have to live with that. Because two things, I'll put it this way. One is, you cannot get the same resource again. Especially in knowledge areas like ours, chartered accountants, and in this thing, IT companies and all, no? See, we used to do activity-based costing for IT companies, for pricing solutions. There, it is not the question of 200 mechanical engineers or 200 computer engineers. It is a question of who is who. Out of 200, you can identify at least 2 of them who are capable of making things happen. Okay, we are not robots, correct? Each one is different. So it is a tough time But preferably, we have to retain talent. Yeah.
Sir, next question is, I have a firm belief that overheads should be recovered through higher volume of sales. Is this a correct perception?
Please come again.
Uh, so the question is, I have a firm belief that overheads should be recovered through higher volume of sales. Is this a correct perception?
No, first of all, we have to understand where is your break-even point. Okay. Even though, according to me, the use of the concept of break-even point is slowly going into oblivion because more things have come, more knowledge has come into the system rather than break-even point. At the same time, see, in a manufacturing environment, any break-even point around 40% is around 40%, less than 40% or around 40% is more required in a seller's market. Whereas in a commodity market, break-even point will happen at a very high level of 80%. Like I'll give you a flour mill. A flour mill which has a capacity of say 100 tons of crushing per day. And on an average, they can crush around 3,000 tons per month. If they are able to crush, say, 2,500 to 2,800 tons, they will make money. Because the raw material you are using is your wheat. Okay. And if you purchase wheat in bulk, you will get a better price. And you cannot sell your atta or whole wheat maida or whole wheat atta beyond a particular price because it is a commodity. And you cannot create a brand value also for it. People are saying ITC, etc., they say we are having brand. But that is coming in a basket. If they have to sell only atta, the brand has no value. Okay. So, for your question, you have to revisit the fixed overheads. What are all the fixed overheads we are considering today and whether it is required? See, fixed overhead is one thing which can be like in your Shakespeare saying, to be or not to be. That is the question. Okay, in one of the Shakespeare stories it will come. The hero, the starting point will be to be or not to be. Okay, so fixed cost has got that question. Whether you should have the fixed cost or not to have the fixed cost. So one better way of doing it is converting into activity-based costing. Convert every management decision into activities and understand the activity, whether this activity is required for me or not. I think I have answered you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, moving forward to next question. So some insights on cost optimization for hospitals.
Okay. So again, what is the hospital doing? End product of hospital, a satisfied patient as per Peter F. Drucker. Correct?
Yes, sir.
See, ultimately, we have to understand the service or product a particular business or profession is doing. A hospital is doing, the end product of an hospital is a satisfied patient, a cured patient fully. Okay. So cost optimization comes, again, going back to the various aspects of this thing, especially human resource. If you go into the human resource, we have various specialists, a cardiologist, a diabetologist, a neuroscience, whatever it is. So their cost is very important, number one. Number two, you have to have a good environment where you have a hygienic environment, hygienic conditions, well-maintained beds and other things. So for which there is a cost involved which you have to incur. There is no option. But when it comes to a specialization, you have to add on that cost to the party and you have to optimize that. Like you cannot charge. Supposing somebody is going to come, in fact, in the COVID situation, every hospital has get good money, so that is different issue. But normally, what will happen? A patient coming for you, coming to the hospital with a fever or small ailments, you cannot charge them more. But there is a heart failure. There is an operation to be done on the vital organ. Then the hospital has to charge more because you have to take care of the people who have the knowledge to perform that operation. Yeah.
Sir, there are no further questions.
Yeah.
So, with your permission, I would like to thank you for such a great session and sharing a valuable experience using practical examples from not only from business life but also from history. And we can definitely conclude that after listening to your session, we can be in your words, better catalyst and help the organizations and businesses, entrepreneurs in making them a big success. With this, I would also like to help all the participants for their patient hearing and sir for a great session.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.